So today is March 11th.
What happened to Hello? How are you?
Do you know what comes out in 7 days? Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Another Hunger Games prequel. I am so excited. I cannot express to you how excited I am for this. Since I didn't end up reading Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, I think this has to be my most anticipated release of the year. We have a week until Sunrise on the Reaping comes out. It is time to reread all of the other books in preparation for Sunrise on the Reaping. That way it's all fresh in my mind, and so I can remember like little details and little references that I see in Sunrise on the Reaping. Aren't these books just gorgeous? These are deluxe edition. They just have new covers and stencil edges. So let's just hop right into it and start the Hunger Games. But I am so excited. So let's get started. It's the next day. I'm currently on page 68. They are about to make their entrance for the opening parade. It's 3 p.m. and I'd say in probably about 3 hours I'm gonna want to get up. I'm gonna sit here for the next 3 hours and we'll see how much I can read. No, that's not what I wanted. I just love this series so much. I'm going to turn on a Hunger Games ambiance on the TV and just get reading for 3 hours. Y'all, I'm not kidding when I say I am not cut out for living alone. Every little noise makes me jump, and this lighting is terrible. So you guys saw, I got one clip of me reading this book in the coffee shop I went to. I sat there for about like an hour and a half, and I read 100 pages, which is a lot. I'm at page like 266. So I've got like a little more than 100 pages left. I'm kind of hoping to finish this tonight. It's only 10:30. And I'm kind of wanting to stay up tonight so I can finish this one so I can start catching fire tomorrow. I also cut a clip of me nearly crying in the coffee shop. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't even remember why I almost cried. I put on my Goodreads that it was like some tiny little detail that was not in the movies that I had forgotten that just like made me nearly cry. There are little parts in this book that like mean so much that are just simply too small to put in the movies. However, like when you read them in the books, you're like, oh my gosh, like that hit so hard. And something I was thinking about yesterday is that I feel like there is a lot more sarcasm in the book that is not in the movie. And I guess because like you're wanting to kind of make the movie's a little more somber, and I feel like if you were to put a little bit more of the humor that's present in the books, then it would almost seem like you're trying to make light of the situation in the movie. However, like I just really enjoy that part of the books. And also in the book, Effie is a complete airhead. Elizabeth Banks portrays her as being more intelligent than you would expect from her. Effie in the books literally has like one singular brain cell, or at least in Hunger Games. She might grow more brain cells in the later books, but like in the Hunger Games, she has one brain cell. Like some of the stuff that she says, you're like, did you really just say that out loud? Like, what are you doing? It's now Sunday. Sunrise on the Reaping comes out in 2 days, and I am on Catching Fire. I'm currently on page 86 out of 391. So I have 300 pages left. Let's see how much I can read in 30 minutes. I did finish the Hunger Games, obviously, because now I'm on Catching Fire. The other night I stayed up until I finished it. That was Thursday, I think. I haven't had that much time to read since then, so that's why I'm only on page 86. Good morning. It's now the morning of Monday, March 17th, which means that Sunrise on the Reaping comes out in 1 day. And I'm still on Catching Fire. I am over halfway through. So yesterday I ended up reading about 170 pages. So like I said, it's currently 9 a.m. My goal is gonna be to finish this book by noon. I forgot, like in this book, how much we get before they even go into the games and like how much of their mundane life in District 12 you get. What's crazy to me is that when I was younger, I used to be Team Gale. Like no joke, like 100% serious. When these books first came out and when I first watched the movies, I was Team Gale. And it wasn't until I rewatched the movies when I was a freshman in college that I was Team Peta. Hi, Mom. Are you Team Gale or Team Peta?
Gale.
That's the wrong answer.
Oh.
That's the wrong answer.
It's the right answer for me.
I'm sorry, do you remember what happens at the end of Mockingjay?
Oh, well, yeah. But Peta's so wimpy.
Is he though?
Yes.
How?
Because he's very needy.
He is?
Yes.
Why?
I just don't feel like he's very, like, emotionally strong. Like, he always needs to be taken care of. I mean, I can have my opinion.
The only time I can think of where he's like emotionally in need is really like in Mockingjay. You know, like after he's...
Yeah.
Time to go into my reading hole. It's 12:20 and I haven't finished Catching Fire because I got distracted. What a shocker, that never happens to me. That's sarcasm if you're new here. It's 2 hours after I wanted to finish this book, but I'm finally on the last chapter of Catching Fire, so let's finish it. It's now Tuesday. Sunrise on the Reaping release day. So yesterday you guys saw me finishing Catching Fire and now I'm on page 52 of Mockingjay and I'm only that far in, but I would say that I see the most differences between the book and the movie and Mockingjay, which is so interesting considering the fact that Mockingjay literally has 2 movies. In the movie they completely fabricated some scenes, I guess because they thought the way that it's written in the book would be a little bit too complicated to understand. In the book, it opens and Katniss is in District 12. Whereas in the movie, it takes her a little bit to get there. She has to like convince people to let her get there. Unless I'm misremembering the movie, which is entirely possible. I think sometimes the events that take place in the Hunger Games, I kind of get a little bit desensitized, not desensitized to them, but they don't hit me as much as they should because I'm picturing the actors as these characters, like from the movies. However, all 3 of the actors that play like the 3 main characters were at least like 5 or 6 years older than their characters. So thus resulting in me imagining them being older than they actually are in the books. Like my little brother, he's 18, which that's how old Gale is. And like thinking about my little brother, like being Gale and doing all the things that Gale does, I'm like it hits so much harder than if I just imagine like Liam Hemsworth as Gale. Wait a minute, is Effie not in Mockingjay? Because I'm reading lines that Effie definitely said in the movie by other people. Is Effie not in this book? Wait, that's so sad. I love Effie. Something that I was thinking about last night that I wanted to say. Hunger Games is so interesting interesting in the way that it portrays the romance. Katniss really only vocalizes her feelings for Gale in that she doesn't really understand what she's thinking about him, but then also at the same time feeling like she's expected to feel that way about Gale. And when I say vocalize it, I don't mean that she says it to Gale or like talks to somebody about it. I just mean that she like puts her feelings into words in her own mind. For the most part, we are getting like all of her thoughts and feelings in this book. And I think it's interesting in the way that Suzanne Collins writes the relationship between Katniss and Peeta. And I feel like it shows a very unique perspective of how two people fall in love, basically. Really, for the most part, even up until this point, like, Katniss never says that she loves Peeta or that she feels anything real towards him. But you can very clearly see that she does in the way that she acts. You know, in the way that she worries about him, in the way that she holds him in such high esteem above everybody else. Whenever she's talking about him to other people, she has like nothing but praise to say about him. She does everything that she possibly can to protect him. You know, that's just like something so unique, I feel like, to the Hunger Games. It's just really interesting to read. This is not a great angle, but I'm hiding in my dad's office because my brother and my mom are having serious chats in the kitchen. Look what came. I'm actually so happy that this came because this is actually only my second time pre-ordering a book from Amazon. The first time I pre-ordered something was Iron Flame, which that whole release was a big fat jumbled mess. And my delivery from Amazon came like 3 days late, but that also could probably be because of where I was living, where we never got anything in less than 4 days. I was gonna save this until it was time for me to read it, until I finished this Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and was ready to read this one, but then I realized I'm about to go to work, and where I work, they're gonna have this book out, so I'll see it anyways, so I might as well just open this one. Are you kidding me?
Oh no, I didn't know that. I thought I put the other book back in there.
Earlier, my brother brought this package in the house, and my mom decided to be an instigator and tell him that he should hide it from me. Well, so then he opened the book.
I did not tell him to open
to hide the book. He opened the package to hide the book, and then tried to pretend like it was in there and that the box is empty. Then he taped it back, and I thought he was being nice, but he put this in there. This does not look like Sunrise on the Reaping. Can I have my book, please?
Yes, you can.
You want this one back now? Okay, here we are.
I didn't know you did that.
A nut! He's a nut! 382 pages. So it's about the same as the original Hunger Games trilogy. Look at it, it's so pretty. Oh, I love the purple. One chapter left of Mockingjay. Yesterday, you guys saw, I finished reading Mockingjay. Oh, I can't believe I finished the original trilogy. But something that I was thinking about when I was reading these was, you know, they talk about the mutts, the genetically mutated animals that the Capitol has created to make the games more interesting for them. But I noticed in this reread that the full name of what they're called is spelled differently than you would think that they would be. So it's spelled mutations. And so I was just like thinking, like that whole word, would you say it mutations or mutations? Because then when they shorten it to M-U-T-T, it's mutt. These are the things that go through my head when I'm thinking about this. And oh my gosh, how did I forget that Effie is not in this book? Usually I don't like it when movies add things in that were not in the books, but adding Effie in to the third and fourth movie, definitely the move. Definitely the move. So I finished the original trilogy. This morning I started reading Sunrise on the Reaping, which is considerably larger than the rest of the books. And Sunrise on the Reaping has about the same amount of pages as this does. This one is considerably larger. I'm currently on page 114. And, you know, something that really made the book that much more uncomfortable to read than the movie is Snow's inner monologue. You know, because without his inner monologue and seeing the things that he actually thinks about the people around him, you can almost argue that for most of the movie, he's a semi-tolerable character. However, in the books, the things that he thinks about are actually despicable. This isn't a spoiler, but one of his fellow classmates dies. And he's at school and they're like having a bit of a memorial for her. One of the teachers is talking about her in glowing terms, her audacity, her outspokenness, her sense of humor, memorializing her a bit. And then it says, all of the things Coriolanus thought as he dabbed his eyes that were so annoying about her and had ultimately brought on her death. Like, he's in her memorial pretending to cry in front of his classmates and all of his teachers, thinking about how all of these things about her were annoying. Like, that is crazy. And like, that whole aspect of Snow's character in this book just was not in the movie. Because unfortunately, there really isn't a way to portray the things that the characters are thinking without making it incredibly cheesy and like just doing a voiceover, which does not match the mood of the rest of the story. That was something that I really struggled with when the movie came out and everybody was like thirsting over Snow. I was like, you don't have any idea about what goes on in his brain and the despicable thoughts he constantly has about the people around him, even the people that he claims to love. Like, the things that he thinks about them are just absolutely mind-boggling. But so I'm definitely not gonna finish this today because I am about to head out the door to work. But it's actually not a bad thing because tomorrow I am actually headed on a plane back to Texas. So I've got about like 4 or 5 hours on the plane and on my layover so I can finish reading this book. That way I'm not reading Sunrise on the Reaping. Because if I was reading Sunrise on the Reaping in the airport and on the plane, I wouldn't be able to catch my real-time reactions to the stuff that's happening in this book for this video. So it's actually not bad that I haven't finished this book. I would have thought I would have finished this book like days ago. Haven't. Made it to my hotel. And yes, I did bring my tripod because if I'm filming a reading vlog, we can't have trash angles, okay? I read a ton of the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes on my plane. I started this morning at page 142. I started on page 142 and you can see where my bookmark is. I'm on page 390. So I read that much on my 2 flights and in the airport. I only have like 120 pages left, so I can definitely finish it tonight, especially because it's literally not even 4 o'clock. And I'm just gonna be hanging out in my hotel room all night because I have no interest in going out in a strange city by myself. You're gonna be keeping me company here. Like, the movie did not at all grasp like the depravity of the Capitol in terms of like the Hunger Games, like when reading like in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Because like, if you think that like the Hunger Games, the original trilogy, is bad, like things were horrible when they first started the games, because obviously the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes takes place surrounding the 10th Hunger Games, and up until this point it really had just kind of been a way to punish the districts, you know. Nobody had a fun time watching it, nobody celebrated it, no one was rooting for certain tributes. It was not at all anything like the games that you see in the original Hunger Games trilogy. But so this is the first games where the Capitol is making an effort to turn the Hunger Games into entertainment. But also it's so crazy to see the difference between this 10th Hunger Games and the 74th Hunger Games. When you're reading the 74th Hunger Games, you're like, wow, they like kind of treat the tributes like kind of well. Like they put them up in these amazing facilities, send these amazing trains to come pick them up. They've got stylists, they've got prep teams, they've got these amazing outfits, and they feed them all this food. It wasn't until like this reread that all of the changes that happened between the 10th Hunger Games and the 74th Hunger Games were all done to once again make the Capitol seem like a good guy and to like spoil the tributes before they go into the games, so that way they can be like, oh well, we treat these tributes so good, so that when they go into the games and they kill each other, the Capitol can basically like look at it hands up and be like, we treated them so well, but now they're dying, now they're killing each other, like they're so depraved, they're so district, but like we treated them so well. In the 10th games, when people were first starting to kind of like see what was going on behind the scenes and how the Capitol was treating the tributes, you know, like collecting them on cattle cars, they just were straight up not giving them any food or water. They were holding them in monkey cages at the zoo, kept them in shackles the whole time. They were dying of natural causes before they even reached the arena. And at that point, there was nothing that the Capitol could do to pin that on them being district. You know, if you've got tributes dying of starvation before they've even gotten into the games because you haven't fed them in the 2 weeks that they've been here, the way that the Capitol shifted their treatment of the tributes so that they could seem like hands off in the way that the tributes were killing each other is just mind-boggling. And like, in this book, the tributes get injured. What do? They send a veterinarian to treat them. Crazy. Is it only 9 o'clock? Maybe. Is this a good place for me to be when I am wanting to finish reading the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? In this comfy position, in my pajamas, skincare done, showered, hair washed, nails done. But now it's time to finish this. I'm going to put a Hunger Games ambiance on my phone, and I'm gonna finish the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Let's do this. The last chapter. The time has come to start reading Sunrise on the Reaping. The only reason why you even clicked on this video, let's be totally honest. Let's do it. Why is this lighting like killer? Anyways, I'm only on page like 20 something of Sunrise on the Reaping, which I definitely thought I was gonna be a little bit further along, but that's okay. It's nothing new. This happens literally all the time. But just in the first 20 pages, like, we're seeing characters that I honestly did not expect to see, which I guess like it makes some of the events in the original trilogy make a little bit more sense that we're seeing certain characters in Sunrise on the Reaping. But it didn't occur to me until reading the beginning of Sunrise on the Reaping that in the original trilogy, Katniss's parents are never named. Anyways, it's 11:52. I have 8 minutes till I need to check out of this hotel room. But my friends are gonna be here in about 2 hours, so I think I'm just gonna sit in the lobby of this hotel. They have a little bistro down there, so I think I'm just gonna just gonna order some lunch, get a coffee, and read until they come and pick me up. It's the next day, the wedding is over, my friends have gone, and my flight doesn't start boarding for 7 hours. So I just decided to kind of split up my time. Gonna sit here in the hotel lobby for a couple hours, and then I'll go sit at the airport for a couple of hours. Let's get back to reading. I'm currently on page 135. I've already cried once. Yesterday, when I was on the plane coming back to Arizona, I finished reading Sunrise on the Reaping. Like, I can't. I have no words. I simply have no words for this book. I honestly had no idea what to expect going into it. I really hadn't like thought about it that much. The things that happened in this were crazy. Crazy! We got background information on some characters that I'm like, ugh. Now I need to read a book about you. So Suzanne Collins, keep an eye out on your email. I'm sending you a list of people I need books about, okay? Sometimes I feel like prequels are a little bit difficult to enjoy because you already know what's gonna happen because it's a prequel. But so much happened in this that I was just like, I cannot. Really solidified the evils of the Capitol. What I was saying the other day about like the difference between the Hunger Games and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes just solidified in this book. This hurt. It did. I was full on crying in the lobby of the hotel like a crazy person. I cannot believe it. I hope Suzanne Collins is already writing her next book. But girl, I will wait for that. You don't need to worry. I'll be here waiting. With that, concludes my annual reread of the Hunger Games books. I read all of the original trilogy and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping. I just have no words to describe that. And you know, as I continue to get older, I continue to notice different things in the books. Different things stand out to me and have different meanings as I expand my mind and continue to read other books, and then am able to further dissect and comprehend the underlying messages of different aspects, different details of the books that aren't just handed to you, which really gives me a deeper appreciation for this book series. This series 100% is going to be one of the ones that I continue reading for the rest of my life. It is a timeless series, and I feel like every generation is able to relate to it in a different way. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that you enjoy this type of content. Comment down below your favorite part of the entire Hunger Games series. No spoilers for Sunrise on the Reaping though. We're not doing that. Book's only been out a week. And subscribe to my channel for more bookish content in the future. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.